All right, here's our presentation that is based off of Tennessee. And my name is Caleb Wells, and I'll be going over question one, and that's just going to be some basic facts about the state. So first of all, Tennessee's baseline what the heck? State overview. The statehood is uh in 1796, June 1st. The current governor is Bill Lee. The total population in 2024 was 7.23 million. And just some gender and age facts is slightly female majority. 18 to 19% of residents are age 65 plus. The demographics of Tennessee are going to be white is going to be the majority of 72 to 74%. African American is going to be next at 15 to 16%. Hispanic and Latino is going to be 7 to 8%, and Asian is going to be 2%. And then you can go to the next slide. Some economic indicators. The poverty rate is 14%. The median household income is going to be $67,000. And then the most diverse cities in Tennessee are going to be Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, Murfreesboro, and there's also a few other rapidly growing suburbs that I didn't put on there, but those are the main ones. And some additional notable facts are going to be the recent population growth is largely driven by net migration, and major regional differences exist in income, race, and poverty. And you can go to the next.
All right, so I've got or quite two. I'm Brooks Vogel, and so this first one is production. And so for the first point, I've got the music and entertainment industry in Tennessee. The music industry is one of the biggest money makers in Tennessee, and the industry brought in about 8.2 million in gross state product last year. For the second point, I have manufacturing. Tennessee is one of the best states when it comes to manufacturing, thanks to its position in the U.S. because pretty much 70% of the entire US population is within a day's drive. So it's a really good export state. And that's why a lot of car manufacturing plants, like for Nissan and General Motors, as seen in the picture, are found in Tennessee. And then for my next point, I've got diversity. And generally, Tennessee is a very diverse economy. At any given moment, they don't really rely on tourism or manufacturing or healthcare, like anything else all at once, unlike other states that have one industry dominating the rest, like tourism or like the Midwest manufacturing. You can go to the next slide. And then I got consumption. First point I got here is rural Tennessee. The appeal of rural Tennessee draws a lot of people to the state. For example, the Appalachian Mountains cut through the state and act as a beacon for rural cultures and folk stories to grow. The term hillbilly itself stems from the movement of many citizens into the Appalachian Mountains. And while Tennessee isn't the only state with this, it's certainly romanticized more than the average one. Then I've got food, and where Tennessee houses one of the four cities in the U.S. known for having their own distinct form of barbecue. Memphis-style barbecue is a form that focuses more on pork, with dry rubs and tangy sauces being a staple of the cuisine. Besides the barbecue, they also have Nashville hot chicken, which follows more the tangy and sauce-based style of cooking that the state's known for. And finally, I've got music. Tennessee is not only home of the blues, but also widely recognized as the birthplace of rock and roll. The city of Memphis is pivotal to the growth of the blues through the commercial hubs like Beale Street and Sun Studio. And on the other side of the state, Nashville is home to the Country Music Hall of Fame, which speaks for itself when it comes to how that side shaped music. You can go to the next slide. And then I've got representation. So again, they are the home of the blues and the birthplace of rock and roll. So yeah, widely known for being the home of the blues, for the many blues artists who not only would frequently play there, but also take the music to the next level to where it's modernly to its modern sound. And then Sun Studio in Memphis is widely known as the rock and roll birthplace. Then you've got the Appalachian stereotypes, and while it can be both a positive and negative thing, the Appalachian people are stereotyped throughout media. For example, the cozy mountain towns sprinkled through the region are known to be cozy and small, but it also portrays people as being uneducated hillbillies that struggle with poverty. And then you've got their civil rights significance. So Tennessee is home to many instances related to the civil rights movement, including demonstrations like marching through Nashville and the Clinton 12 being the first integration of black students in a Southern high school following the Brown v. Board of Education decision. And unfortunately, Memphis is also where the civil rights movement was dealt its hardest blow with the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. Go to the next slide.
Continuing on to the identity of Tennessee, uh, I've learned that Tennessee is also referred to as three states in one, and it's not generally three states literal, but more so three regions. And so I wanted to pull from the three regions in Tennessee, which are the West, the Middle, and the East. And so in the West region, since it's mostly famous for its blues, since it's the origin of the blue music, soul music, it's got that representation of music that's passed over to that area. And the Middle East, it's more so of like urban and city like. And so the city is also known as IT city. So more technology uh, contributions into the middle region. And then it's kind of funny, but this is where the phrase hillbilly came from, more so known in the east part region of Tennessee, where there's a lot of mountains, a lot of rolling hills and valleys because of how the landscape has contributed to that. And next slide, please. And so discussing about the regulation and how Tennessee in a way has it together is that they have their own Department of Safety and Homeland Security. And if you also note in that map that I included, there are three regions. The three regions actually are legally recognized, so they all have their own separate in a way culture and laws, regulations. But there are 11 districts across those three regions, and that's how they are dedicated to that protection to the citizens. A lot of this protection is also influenced because of the 9/11 attack. And so about the laws and how they are passed, Tennessee has what they call the Tennessee General Assembly, and their legislative branch, that is their name, and it's composed of two bodies, the Senate and the House of Representatives. And so when one of the questions for my part was what are some laws and policies specific to the state? And one that I would like to recall is that the use of marijuana is illegal, and so even for medical possession. And then the third example of the relations between the private and public property or sectors. In that relation, if there's tension in Tennessee, Tennessee actually has an agency, the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Energy, and they work closely with private landowners, which is about 90% of the population. So it's a pretty big population, and they work closely together to go ahead and preserve the landscape in Tennessee. Yes, thank you.
All right, back to me. I got question three. If you can play the first 30 seconds of this clip, or roughly. Okay. Okay, well, this movie is another look into the life of Johnny Cash. It goes into detail about his upbringing into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, highlighting parts of Tennessee that enabled him to do so, like Sun Studio and the people around him idolizing him as much as the Man in Black. The movie describes how the modern landscape of Tennessee shifted to being a passionate for music thanks to the multitude of artists who got their start in the state. Next slide, please. All right, so for the music slide, I picked the song Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton. If you can go ahead and play it. So while the lyrics of the song don't do justice to Tennessee culture, the blues rock mix encapsulates the state's influence on music. It shows that its roots in the rock music while also having the vibe of the blues, which perfectly describes the effect that the state had on music, where blues evolved to where it modernly stands, and rock was introduced to both mix well and with the other genres and also the ability to stand alone. Next slide, please.
Okay, so my name is Ben Vander, and I'll be doing question 4. For the central analysis of Tennessee, the state engages all of the human senses. The state looks like green hills and neon lights. Tennessee offers not only the city atmosphere, but nature's beauty as well. An artifact that relates to this is a mountain photo. The state sounds like blues riffs from Memphis. This is due to the powerful music culture in Tennessee. An artifact that relates to this is an old vinyl record. The state smells like smoky BBQ. This is demonstrated by Tennessee's outdoor gatherings. An artifact that represents smell is a jar of BBQ rub. The state tastes like pulled pork with dripping sauce. This conveys the strong food culture in Tennessee. An artifact that relates to this is a plate of ribs. The state feels like the cool mist of the mountains. This shows the warmth of Tennessee through not only the climate, but the people who live there as well. An artifact connected to this sense is a hand-carved wooden guitar. You can go to the next slide.
Okay, so what connections can you make through your readings that we've done this semester in class concepts? So Brenda Allen and Difference Matters, we have Race and Identity, Chapter 1. Examples of this is Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination in Memphis, which shows racial identity continues to influence social structure and institutionalized difference. Power and Social Class from Chapters 2 and 5. Tennessee shows strong class decisions between wealthy and urban centers like Nashville and struggling areas. Reflecting sides that opportunity and communication are shaped by systems of inequality and privilege. So gender and ability is talked about in chapters 6 and 7. Tennessee has heavy representation of women in politics, showing gender affects credibility and visibility. And then also to question 5 in Jeff Chang's Who We Be cultural representation. So in Tennessee, there's heavy culture, which we've talked about, art and music. Media also shapes racial understanding. So that's through the music scene, like blues, gospel, country. Post-civil rights identity, Chang discusses how Americans struggled to represent race after 1960, and Tennessee mirrors the evolution of Southern identity in media. So visual culture protests. So Memphis is full of murals that express social justice, reflecting Chang's argument that visual culture is challenging inequality. We also have examples like Lawrence Wright, God Save Texas, talking about regional identity contradictions, like Tennessee's political culture is heavily divided between rural and city. And then religion and conservatism, both states emphasize Christian values and traditionalism, which shape social and political climates. And then economic and environmental issues, the reliance on industries like agriculture, manufacturing, and music reveal how class labor shapes identity. So overall, Tennessee embodies the intersection of race, class, and culture across readings. Question 6. So who do you feel your state empowers or disempowers? So Tennessee empowers white conservative Christians, developers and business owners, urban elites, entertainment industry professionals, and country music. And disempowered groups is the Black community, LGBTQ plus individuals, immigrant and Latino populations, and low-income rural residents. Power and privilege in cities. So Nashville is being famous for the music industry, which we see that, and there's a lot of blue collar work, which that leaves out blue collar workers and minority communities from economic gain. And Memphis, despite its Black population, struggles with limited political influence and racialized poverty. Avert exclusion is like state laws limiting LGBTQ plus rights, voting restriction, limited healthcare access to minority groups. And then convert exclusion is like celebrating Southern heritage, which downplays inequality and racism. And then lack of public education investment in minority communities, and then inclusion efforts are community advocacy, civil rights groups working to amplify all voices, and then growth of multicultural initiatives in Nashville's food and art scene. Finally, question 7, what value does your state add to the culture of the U.S. and does your state distract from the culture of the U.S. in any way? So the contributions that are the music capital shaped American identity. Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton created global cultural influences. Civil rights legacy like MLK's assassination, Southern identity such as hospitality, tradition, craftsmanship, cultural exports like the Grand Ole Opry and Beale Street, boosting economy, and then food and culture like Memphis barbecue and Southern comfort food. Distractions are historical and racial tensions like Old South traditions, political polarization, which is resistant to social progress, and urban-rural divide, which is like national polarization. And these are our citations. And yeah, thank you for listening.